Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Face Lock Fury. In the ring right now is your MC for the evening, Neil Ayrton, and I am Simon G. Money, your commentator for the evening's action. And making his way to the ring right now is a man that we are all very familiar with. In fact, the last time we saw him in this environment here in Rycroft, he picked up a steel chair and assaulted Shawwal the Great. And since then, he has become very, very familiar with the weapons that you find underneath a wrestling ring. And the one question I have is, why is there always a weapon under the ring? Why does nobody check that? And as you just heard, this match is a street fight, meaning that all weapons are legal. But if there's one man that doesn't need to bring weapons into this environment, it is Tommy Rocker, a well-travelled veteran in the Yorkshire wrestling scene. Dan Demain better be bringing the weapons, because it looks like Tommy Rocker has brought the guns. Though he is trying to steal a child's drink. Should have hydrated before you came out, Tommy. Our fans tonight braving some bad weather to come and see the show. The fans are firmly behind Tommy Rocker, but Dan Demain has gone for a chair already. That's right, referee James Ayrton in the ring. All he has to do in this environment is count the 1, 2, 3. He has no other job in a street fight. Look out for the safety of the competitors and count the pinfall or ring the bell on a submission. Fans in attendance making their opinions known. Dan Demain not the popular one here. And the first strike goes to Dan Demain. I've got to question Tommy Rocker there. That's not a smart move. Don't turn your back on your opponent in any kind of match, especially a street fight, because look at this, it's costing thunderous impact into the leg of Tommy Rocker. It doesn't matter how big you are or how powerful you are. If your base is taken out from underneath you, you're not going to be able to lift anything. Dan Demain is just relentless here. Now he's just mocking Tommy Rocker, taking a seat while Tommy is struggling to stand. But even with all of the impact in that leg, he's still trying to fight back. We'll see how that leg holds up as this match continues. But right now, stumbling or not, he's got the upper hand. And Dan Demain was driven straight into the wall. That'll give Tommy Rocker a moment of reprieve here. Not that he wants it. He's going straight back over to Dan Demain. He's trying to keep in control. And that may have actually just cost him. Dan Demain going straight back to the leg now after that vicious throw into the steel ring post there. Not again. Another chair shot straight into that leg. That one just buckling behind the knee. Tommy Rocker is in real trouble here. He's managed to get some separation for now, but that may not be the best thing because Dan Demain used that separation, he used that distance for the sliding drop kick. Now mocking the fans in attendance. And this is why you've got to keep your eye on the ball. He mocked them for wanting to see him fly. Well, he's definitely flying now. Flying right to a ring post with a crash landing. And now Tommy Rocker's the one with the chair right across the back. The turnabout is fair play. And Tommy Rocker is really laying those shots in. Doing damage to the back of Dan Demain. What people don't consider is that your back is incredibly important, not just when it comes to lifting, but when it comes to standing in general. Any of our older fans will know what it's like when you try to stand up and your back starts to twinge. I feel like Dan Demain might be feeling that a little bit earlier in his life than he wants. Hang on, what's he going for here? Looks like he's hooking him up for some kind of underhook maneuver, but a big backdrop. And once again, the back of Dan Demain on the wood on the outside. Dan Demain better make this a good career, because it doesn't look like it's going to be a long one if he keeps sustaining shots like that. The resilience of both of these men is astounding. They've taken chair shots. They've been thrown into the steel ring post. Thrown around on the wood floor on the outside of the ring. And they're still going. But Dan Demain is going back to that leg. He's going back to his original game plan now. Take out the leg of Tommy Rocker. Are we going to see a submission victory from Dan Demain? He's clearly got something in mind here. He's going in with a game plan. That game plan involves trying to break Tommy Rocker's leg here. I'm not sure if this is a wise move. Oh. Well, there it is. This is what I was saying earlier on. Your leg is needed for lifting. And it's paying dividends now. Tried to lift him up for that suplex, but he just couldn't keep him up there. Now we've got the single leg Boston Crab. He is leaning back, wrenching on that knee. If we can get just a little bit more torque on this, we could see a tap out. Tommy Rocker's reached the ropes. The referee's telling him to... He was telling him to break. I think he forgot it was a street fight for a moment there. There are no rope breaks in a street fight.
You distracted me.
And now Dan Demain getting in the face of referee James Ayrton there, quite rightly. He provided an unintentional distraction there. It looks like Tommy Rocker is now going to take advantage of that. But his leg is still... it's still compromised. A lot slower than he would normally be going in for that clothesline. And just that half a second that it took longer to deliver the clothesline, Dan Demain was able to duck underneath. Once again, trying for a suplex, but he's not going to lift Tommy Rocker, and it looks like he's going to fight through the pain this time, because Rocker's got him up, and he slams him straight back down, but he can't take advantage. That leg, somebody is going to have to take a look at that leg after the match, because Tommy Rocker is really struggling. Finally into the cover, but it's only a 2 count. A valiant effort being shown here by Tommy Rocker, fighting through the pain. And just a thumb to the eye. I've got to respect that. If he can't see, he can't fight, and there are no rules in this match. Charging in. And he's just dropped Tommy Rocker and gone straight back to that leg. It sounds like Dan Demain's getting frustrated here that he hasn't put him away yet. And now the bigger man is throwing bombs across the back of Dan Demain. And he's not going for a suplex this time, slipping down the back door, and a double knee face breaker, just dropping Tommy Rocker. Both men are absolutely exhausted here. And just a 2. Let's not forget, both men here have endured incredible punishment. And while Dan Demain right now is choking Tommy Rocker across those ropes, no count being administered here, no disqualifications. Both men have been thrown into ring posts, hit with chairs, thrown around the outside of the ring, slammed around in the ring, and now choked across the ropes, driving the air out the lungs of Tommy Rocker here. Both men, that's just a disrespectful cover. You were not going to get more than a 1 count on Tommy Rocker doing that kind of pin, because he didn't follow up. Rocker made him pay. And charging in one more time, that big knee right to the midsection. Looks like he's going for it again. Another big knee into the face buster. 1 arm across the chest, 2. Now if he'd have gotten the full body across his chest, pinned those shoulders down, that may have been a different story, but like I said, these two men are worn down. Technique is starting to go out of the window here. And it looks like he's going in for it again. He's not going to get the knee this time. And Tommy Rocker hooked him up. Where's he going? Over the top. Incredible suplex, but once again, the combined damage to the leg of Tommy Rocker and all the other punishment that he suffered in this match, he couldn't follow it up, but he can take this man to a place made famous by a beast, Suplex City. But Tommy Rocker is exhausted. He can't capitalize. Finally draping the arm over 2. Once again, let's have a look at these suplexes. Just 3 big suplexes onto Dan Demain, throwing him around the ring. What impact. And now, Tommy Rocker rallying the crowd, but Dan Demain got shot. A big flipping neck breaker. And it sounds like Dan Demain's frustration is starting to boil over. He's tapping his head for a moment there. Looks like he's got something in mind. And that something in mind is a high-risk maneuver. Rocker struggling to his feet, with Dan Demain lying in wait up top. Turns around, but he misses. Massive spine buster. This has got to be it. 1, 2, and 3. Your winner, Tommy Rocker, with an incredible spine buster. Whatever it was that Dan Demain had in mind, it wasn't going to work out. We'll never know what it was going to be. But Dan Demain's up and... Hang on. Who's this? Oh! Super kick. Big choke bomb from this hooded figure. And it looks like we have...
Come on guys, clear the ring, the match is over. Guys, what do you think you've done today?
Well, Tommy Rocket, somebody needs to check on Tommy. That was a vicious assault. He's just gone through a grueling street fight, and now Dan Demain bringing in the heavy artillery here, the big guns, to attack his opponent. I get the impression that he was going to do that, win, lose or draw. Tommy Rocker came into this environment looking for a brutal fight, prepared for a brutal fight, but he wasn't prepared for the assault that happened after the match. And while he's not victorious, Dan Demain is certainly the one holding his head high as he walks out. Battered, bruised, and barely able to stand. But Tommy Rocker is your winner here tonight. And as Tommy Rocker heads on back to get some medical attention, that's it from us this evening. I have been Simon G. Money. This has been BWF Wrestling. Tune in next time for more British Wrestling Federation.